Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 115th episode. 2.5 years on the air and going strong. It's always a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you so much for listening and interacting with me on social media. Truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And also remember that we're now live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. And all episodes of A Moment of Zen are now streaming 24/7 on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV platform. It's free programming. You can also find us on our YouTube channel at Zen Sams. Today we have an amazing show lined up for you. Very exciting stuff. In our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by Romulus Entertainment, we're featuring actor and singer and my dear friend Constantine Maroulis. For those unfamiliar, Constantine was the 6th place finalist on the 4th season of American Idol. You may have seen him as the leading actor in Rock of Ages, the musical, or on tour in Jekyll and Hyde. Today, he's here to chat Broadway, career, summertime in the city, and his new role as Alan Freed in Rock and Roll Man, the musical. In our Culinary Wine segment brought to you by Bice Cucina, today we're featuring our dear friend, Chef Jonathan Scinto, bringing us his summer recipe of the week. Can't wait to see what he has in store. In our Healthy Minutes segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames, today we're featuring fitness and health influencer Dalyce Radtke. She's a 59-year-old mom of 7 who is dedicated to creating simple, effective workout routines. Her mission is to teach women how to increase their strength, energy levels, and confidence, all the while boosting their metabolism. And her specialty is to help pre- and post-menopausal women appreciate their health. Today, we're chatting keeping fit in your 50s, 60s, and beyond, and the importance of proper nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. In our Millennial Mom segment brought to you by Dragon Mobile, today we're featuring my dear friend Amy Kennedy, Education Director of the Kennedy Forum, and she's joined by Amber Toth, CEO of Dragon Mobile, along with Dragon Mobile co-founder Lee Hunt. Today we're chatting mental health disorders in children, how mobile devices are at the root of it all, and what Dragon Mobile is doing all about it. Stay tuned for Constantine Maroulis, starring as Alan Freed on our off-Broadway Rock and Roll Man opening June 21st. He's coming here right now to chat Broadway career and summertime in the city. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV.
Hi, this is Kathy Ireland here on A Moment of Zen, brought to you by Your Home TV. We've developed an all-inclusive subscription-free network that you're going to love, whether it's financial freedom, fashion, beauty, health and wellness, wonderful weddings, travel and culture, cooking, entertainment, and short-form documentaries, programming for everyone. Classic films and new shows, including Kathy Ireland Presents American Dreams. We've developed this network just for you. Please check out yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up in just a few minutes in our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by Romulus Entertainment, we're featuring the awesome Constantine Maroulis, an American actor and rock singer, currently starring as Alan Freed on off-Broadway's Rock and Roll Man, the original musical about a musical original. For those unfamiliar, Constantine was the 6th place finalist on the 4th season of American Idol and went on to receive a nomination for a Tony Award for Best Performance by a Leading Actor in a Musical for his role in Rock of Ages. His work on Broadway and on tour includes Jekyll and Hyde. In addition to his appearances on TV and in movies, his onstage credits include The Wedding Singer, Rent, Rocktopia, Jacques Brel, Jesus Christ Superstar, Evita, The Toxic Avenger, Friend Art, and Postmodern Jukebox. Today, he's here to chat Broadway, career, summertime in the city, and Rock and Roll Man, the musical. Broadway is widely regarded as the pinnacle of live theater in the United States and often represents the epitome of theatrical excellence. It has a long storied history dating back to the mid 19th century. It's been the birthplace of numerous iconic productions, including classic musicals like West Side Story, The Phantom of the Opera, and Hamilton. Broadway's rich legacy and cultural significance have contributed to its enduring appeal. It is a major tourist attraction, drawing visitors from all around the world. The allure of seeing a Broadway show while visiting New York City adds to the very excitement. Welcoming now to the show is the incredible Constantine Maroulis. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Hello. Wow, what an intro there.
I always give the red carpet to celebrities like you.
Thank you for having me, Zen. This is great.
Absolutely. Congratulations on this amazing part, brother. What an incredible production you are now part of. So let's jump right into it. Broadway, as we know, is a major tourist attraction, drawing in visitors from around the world. Opening night for you is June 21st, as you are playing Alan Freed in Rock and Roll Man. Talk to me about why this role is so perfect for you and how you booked the part.
Thank you. Yeah, I got to tell you, being a part of a great show in New York this time of year, people are everywhere. There's excitement all over Broadway, all over off Broadway. This part jumped out at me because Alan Freed was a disruptor. He was at the forefront of the battle against race in music. You know, no one was elevating these amazing Black artists at the time. They would not play their records on the radio. There was segregation. You know, there was no mixing of audiences. And Alan Freed stepped up and said, you know what? I believe in these artists. I'm going to play these songs. I know what the consequences are. And he did so. And he paid the ultimate price. He was dead by 43. He drank himself to death. He led this insane life for some, 15, 20 years. He was a complicated man. Dealt with alcoholism, depression, and whatnot. But what he did for these artists and the friendships he made and the legacy that he built is what we celebrate in the show. I love it. The great artists like Little Richard, Laverne Baker, Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, the Coasters, the Moonglows, these amazing acts. His relationship with Leo Mintz, who he collaborated with from Cleveland originally, where he coined the phrase rock and roll before anyone and popularized the music form as we know it today. He was inducted.
You are perfect for this. This is you now. And when you go back to your point, I know I'm very familiar being on the radio who Alan Freed was. I mean, to your point, a very influential figure in the early days of rock and roll music. He was a radio disc jockey who played that very crucial role, like you said, in popularizing the genre and introducing it to a wider audience. In fact, he's often referred to as the father of rock and roll because of his efforts to promote and support the music. And in the 1950s, he worked at radio stations such as WJW in Cleveland and WINS right here in New York City. And he played rhythm and blues records on his shows, to your point, which were primarily targeted at African-American audiences. So I think you are perfectly cast for this. I am so excited to come watch. Now, you're surrounded by a great cast. You have Andy Christopher from The Baker's Wife, AJ Davis from Dreamgirls, Autumn Buzzardi from Rock of Ages, Matthew Morgan, The Lion King, Lawrence Dandridge from Ain't Too Proud, Chase Peacock from American Idiot, and Bronan Tarboton from Frozen. I probably forgot a few amazing ones, but you have been part of many Broadway and off-Broadway productions. What's different about this, and why is Rock and Roll Man and Alan Freed's story so relevant?
Well, and not to forget Joey Pantoliano, who is a film icon, a film legend, best known for The Matrix, Goonies, A Risky Business, making his musical debut at 70 years old, and he's better than ever. He plays both Leo Mintz in Act One and Morris Levy, the gangster from Roulette Records that Freed collaborates with when he moves to New York to put on his live shows, because that's what he really wanted to do. He played the records. He wanted to put on live shows that led to films and television and this gigantic brand, but he didn't play ball. They came after him for this. The government, obviously, J. Edgar Hoover, who was a sort of a freak in his own way, came after him hard and basically like crucified this guy for doing what he did. For me, yeah, I'm nothing without this amazing cast and ensemble. There's nothing like creating a new role. Funny enough, 15 summers ago, I began a little show called Rock of Ages at this very theater, and then took it to Broadway, then took it all around the world, and it's one of the most iconic titles in the contemporary musical theater now. It's done all over the world. It's done at JCCs and high schools. It's in colleges and dozens of different languages. So if I can have a fraction of that success with Rock and Roll Man, I'd be very pleased. But yes, we have a great cast. We celebrate the great catalog of the era of the great 50s, but woven in is an original score, which no one's really done before. We've had jukebox musicals, we've had catalog shows. Certainly Rock of Ages was something that broke the mold, what a show could be with existing catalog. But this is a show that weaves in original material because Alan Freed wasn't a singer, and that sort of allows me to kind of be within the bubble of the show. The show takes place in a dream. It's not a cookie cutter type of musical where we've seen with big, sort of biography shows. We meet him basically on the last day of his life, and 43, but he might as well have been, 103, what he had
For
done
the
to his
life
body.
he led. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And he basically is in this fever dream and kind of relives this, his ups and downs, his legacy, and sort of tries to correct all the wrongs. So it's so unique in that way.
Now, it's interesting because, and I'm going to touch on this very quickly because it's relevant to radio, and you and I are both such, radio geeks here. Fred's career faced the controversies you mentioned and challenges. In 1959, he was caught up in the payola scandal, where it was revealed that he had accepted payments to play certain records on his shows, and this led to his downfall. And of course, he lost his radio job and faced legal issues. But despite the controversy, I mean, to your point, his contributions to rock and roll music cannot be overlooked, and his work definitely helped popularize the genre and pave the way for its cultural significance and, of course, the global impact. Now, you are a graduate of the prestigious Boston Conservatory at Berklee College of Music and trained as an acting apprentice at Williamstown. Congratulations. You have been performing for quite some time now. What does your rehearsal schedule look like? And when do you find the time to relax?
There's no relaxing right now. And thank you. I love the training I've received. And I think a lot of people, of course, got to know me from American Idol, but I've been acting and performing my whole life in bands and shows and, small film projects and whatnot. And, the opportunity to create a new role is always the most exciting time in an actor's life, whether it's at film, TV, or certainly on the stage. For me, I have a 12-year-old daughter running around the North Jersey suburbs. When I can, and somehow I'm there 99% of the time, I'm a soccer dad with her very well-known club here in the North Bergen County area. Torpedoes. She's a big soccer kid and plays tennis and dances, and she's a high honor roll student in Wyckoff, and I'm very proud of her. So that helps me relax, sort of connecting with her and my family. I love baseball and I love watching my Yankees. Sorry to anyone that's not a big Yankee fan out there, but there's just something about baseball that just it just relaxes me. It's there every night. You get to tune in, whether it's in the car, on TV, on the app. You don't have to watch every pitch, but I generally do. That relaxes me. I like to read and travel and drive upstate and just
you
kind of.
you are just like at this point right now, there's women out there listening going, what? He's like the perfect, this is a perfect man.
Well,
what are your summer plans looking like?
8 shows a week, at New World stages of Rock and Roll Man predominantly, but my daughter's in some sports camps this summer. It goes fast. I'm trying to relish every moment. It feels like you mentioned you have a 7-year-old. It feels like she was just 7. And before that, she was just 2, running around backstage with me at Rock of Ages and Jekyll and Hyde on Broadway and in diapers still. So I want to cherish every moment and And I'm working on music. I have a new tune coming out, a new single called Daydream, which you can find on all streaming services, Apple Music and Spotify, whatnot. You can always go to my website, ConstantineMaroulis.com, for all the updates. But I'm doing some tour dates on off nights, but
You
mainly.
are busy. I mean, how do you? What's the hardest thing at this point? This is a perfect question. What's the hardest thing about balancing fatherhood and your career? I mean, there must be some challenges there because you have a very full schedule.
Sure, her mother and I, we co-parent to the best of our ability, successfully. We've gone through a lot of ups and downs over the years, but she's a great mom, and I'm appreciative of her. I've been on this sober journey for nearly 4 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you, and I feel like that really helps. I'm not in recovery or anything like that, but I knew I needed to make some changes in my life, and not drinking, not using flour, we'll call it, like that. For me, was a good choice. I've never been happier. I think I was probably dealing with some sadness and whatnot. And
We
I'm
all
just,
we all are
we
have
all
been
do.
there.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And I feel more motivated than ever. I get up, and I've been trying to, work out a lot more. And I just try to each day do productive things, whether it's with my family or with work.
Amazing. Now we have about a minute left before this commercial break, but I want to touch on American Idol. So
Mhm.
you were on just the fourth season of American Idol. Now they're at their 21st. The judges you had were Randy Jackson, Paul Abdul, Simon Cowell. The show drew in over 30 million viewers. Since then, American Idol has gone on to launch many careers. Carrie Underwood, Kelly Clarkson, Chris Daughtry, Adam Lambert, Jennifer Hudson. That's just some of them, right? Did American Idol pave the way for you? And do you think the show is still popular with the younger generations?
Yeah, I mean, I was there with Carrie Underwood, and it was clear that she was just born to be the American Idol. So for me, it was just about, look, I had graduated a prestigious school, I had toured in the Broadway show Rent, I had a band at the time. It was just about, what am I going to do with this opportunity? So much was changing at the time. The digital age was coming in with iTunes, and the show was so big and it had gotten so massive. Um, okay, I'm not going to win this show. What am I going to do with this opportunity? I have all this training, I have experience. I'm not a little kid. I was 29, turning 30 years old at the time. And I had a lot of experience. So for me, I developed a television series with Kelsey Grammer at ABC. My first experience with having this massive opportunity and seeing it not really come all the way to the finish line.
Yeah.
Okay, so next, then I jumped on to a soap opera for a while. I was in The Wedding Singer on the Broadway before Rock of Ages and all of that. I was developing Rock of Ages with the creators. I had met them up at CAA in one of my exit meetings back in the day. So, it's just about like, next, who's next,
So you
what's next.
leverage those opportunities into
Sure.
the bigger and better in the next stage, and you are where you are today. And with that, we are out of time. In one sentence, what is your advice to your younger self?
Just listen and do the work. Be kind to everyone. You never know who that person next to you is going to be one day, and just work hard, man.
You are amazing. Thank you so much for coming on. What an incredible interview. You just made my day.
Thank you. Yeah, look for my new single Daydream coming out very soon.
I will. We're definitely going to check you out. Guys, you definitely have to check out Constantine Maroulis. You could head to his website at ConstantineMaroulis.com. Check him out on the gram at Constantine Maroulis. And remember, the combination of history, artistic excellence, cultural impact, and the unique experience of live theater continues to captivate audiences and make Broadway and off-Broadway an integral part of American entertainment. Opening night is June 21st. Definitely check out Constantine as Alan Freed in Rock and Roll Man. Visit rockandrollmanthemusical.com. That was our entertainment and pop culture segment brought to you by Romulus Entertainment. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Nave, a members-only travel portal exclusively available through Organo, offering members steep discounts on nightly or weekly hotel stays, cruises, auto rentals, excursions, and so much more. With its travel getaway portal, Nave makes the days of surfing multiple travel sites and spending hours evaluating the best deals done with. That's because with Nave, you are guaranteed the best prices. Plus, to gain access to an even more expansive collection of condos, hotels, cruises, vacation villas, fantasy getaways, and concierge service, there's Forever Weeks. Simply purchase a Nave Forever Weeks package one time and enjoy the benefits many times. With Forever Weeks, forever means forever. Not only does Nave guarantee you the best prices, but it is also one of the few travel portals that pays a referral bonus, in addition to you earning rewards points, which can be redeemed on the Travel Getaway portal for further discounted hotel room rates. Become a member today and navigate the world of travel. Nave, the world for you to experience. For more information, go to nave.travel. That's nave, N-A-V-E.travel.
Hey guys, this is Celebrity Chef Jonathan Scinto, right here on the Moment of Zen on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. Welcome to the Culinary Wine segment, brought to you by Bice Cucina. In today's mini segment, we are going to be making a surf and turf sandwich, and we are using an amazing piece of steak. This is from Marble 57. We're using certified Wagyu beef. This stuff is going to be amazing. This is a beautiful New York strip. Look at the marbleization on this bad boy. So we're going to add some olive oil into the pan. I'm using some really good Sicilian olive oil. Love stuff that's from Italy and imported. Get that richness, that rusticness. So we'll add about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Get that in there nice. While that's warming up, we're going to season this now with a beautiful coffee rub. This stuff is amazing. This is from Smoke Q. Oh, guys, if you could smell the spices and the coffee in here, insane. So we're going to heavily season this, rub it on, get that fully coated on all sides. Don't be shy about it. Get this in here, you see? And we would let this sit for just a little bit so the moisture gets into the steak. You'll see it starts to change a little bit in color. That's a good thing. That's what we're looking for, like that. That looks beautiful. My pan is ready. We got that light sizzle as you hear. And I'm going to cook that now to a medium-ish, medium rare. So now we're going to start on the shrimp. I have U15 white shrimp. This stuff is insane. What I did was I took the shrimp and I scored it down the middle to flatten it out so when it goes on the bread, it's going to go there nice and even. All right? So this is really easy. And it's also going to cook your shrimp a little faster. So you got to pay attention to that. So we're going to add a little bit of olive oil. I'm going back to my go-to, my Sicilian olive oil. And we're going to put in about 3 or 4 tablespoons of olive oil. My pan is already hot. And we're going to now put this straight down in the pan. And I'm going to use something that I am now really addicted to. This is from a company called Osmo. This is truffle salt we're using. Getting that umami flavors in the shrimp. That's exactly what we want. So I'm going to take a little bit of that. Yes, that's exactly what we want. That's going to be adding some intense flavor. Okay? We added about 3 tablespoons of that magic dust in there. Okay? We're going to cook that up a little bit when we see it to turn pink. And we're letting that go. You hear that little sizzle? That's all we need, really. And then I'm going to add some herbs that I dried down myself. This is a combination of thyme and a little bit of fresh parsley. Okay, so we dried that down. Hit that on top a little bit. Just to give it, again, some more of that flavors that we want to enhance the shrimp. Of course, we need a little acidity, right? So we're going to take a fresh lime. That's 1 whole fresh lime. You can see it squirting everywhere. We're using the real juice here, boy. So we're going to cook that down, get the flavors going in that. That's exactly what we want. See how it's starting to turn pink? All right, now we're going to make the marsala onions. Really simple. I'm going to use the same flavors that we had from the shrimp. It's going right in the pan. I don't want to lose that goodness. So we're going to get those onions going. And we're going to add in about 2 cups of marsala wine. So we'll deglaze all those bits that was in the bottom of the pan I don't want to lose that truffle salt. That stuff is never going to disappear when I'm cooking. So we're going to make sure we have that. So we're going to cook this down until these are translucent and we absorb most of the marsala juice that we're putting in there. All right, so we're going to cut the steak. We let it rest for about 10 minutes. Look at this bad boy. Look at the crust we got here. Look at the flavors just coming through the screen. If you guys could smell this on your morning drive, oh my God, this is magic right here. So we're going to cut into it. We've let it rest for a little bit now. I'm going to get my knife right here from forge to table. I like to cut it on an angle. Let's see what that's exactly what we are looking for. The medium rare that we wanted. And I'm going to cut them nice thin strips. So we'll cut this down to about, 15, 20 pieces of steak. Look at that. That is insane. I'm going to enjoy this very soon, and we're going to plate this. All right, look at this beauty right here. Look at that. That is a hefty sandwich as it stands right now. We put this on beautiful French baguette bread, slice it open, and now we're going to get those marsala onions with that juice going. Look at that. Oh, man. That is magic right there. Add in some of the onions right on top. Ho, 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 ho. And then we have to have a little bit of garden tomatoes. These are Campari tomatoes. We'll throw some on here like that. We're going to pair this now with a beautiful wine from Castle Rock Winery. It's got the summertime flavor going because we're using a beautiful Sauvignon Blanc. This is a heavy sandwich, so we want it to be light. So I want those nice floral notes, right? So right here is this beautiful wine. Look at that. Look at that nice golden color. Thanks for tuning in and watching. This is Chef Jonathan Scinto on A Moment of Zen, 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. That was our culinary and wine segment brought to you by Bice Cucina. Back to you, Zen.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Coming on in a few in our Healthy Minutes segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames. Today we're featuring fitness and health influencer Dalyce Radtke, a 59-year-old mom of 7 who is very dedicated to creating simple, effective home workouts. Her mission is to teach women how to increase their strength, energy levels, and confidence, all the while boosting their metabolism. Her specialty is to help pre- and post-menopausal women appreciate their health. Now, we all know that exercise is an important part of staying healthy, but many people assume that as we get older, we should slow down. Nothing could be further from the truth. And in fact, investing in your physical fitness in your 50s, 60s, and beyond is one of the most valuable gifts you can give yourself. When we think of aging well, we often think of staying healthy and retaining our independence, continuing to pursue activities we enjoy, developing new hobbies, and staying active within our community. Just because our age changes doesn't mean that we have to fundamentally change as people. Today, we're chatting keeping fit in your 50s, 60s, and beyond, and of course, the importance of proper nutrition and a healthy lifestyle. We start planning our retirement decades before we need the money. The same concept holds true for our physical mobility in our 70s and 80s. We need to start exercising regularly decades before we truly need it. I say, if you haven't started by your 50s, be prepared to lose some of your physical independence when you become a senior. Welcoming now to the show is my expert at hand, the incredible Dalyce Radtke. Welcome to the show, Stunner.
Thank you, Zen, so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
You are beautiful. You are gorgeous. I cannot believe you are 59.
Yes.
I want to look like you when I'm that age.
Oh, geez. You look great.
Now, your mom, thank you. Your mom is 91. I see these videos you post and still very, very active. How often do people need to exercise in their 50s and 60s, in your opinion, to keep it together?
You know what I always say? I think you should do a little bit of something every day. The key is to not be sedentary. You don't have to go to the gym. You can do it at home. You can do it outdoors. but doing a little something every day really adds up. And that's what my mom does. My 91-year-old mom, she does go to the gym a couple days a week, but she only does that when it's nice out and she can get in the car and she can actually drive herself there. But on days when it's really, she lives in Canada, when it's snowing or it's cold, she actually works out inside her apartment. She always does a little something every day. So a little bit adds up in the end.
Of course, without a doubt. And I look, a well-balanced exercise routine, to your point, includes a little of everything, and resistance training for your muscles, cardio for your heart, and flexibility. The other day I was talking to my husband and his trainer. We were talking about my in-laws, and he said, look, I recommend that we include 30 to 60 minutes of exercise every day for some level of weight maintenance and general good health. Crack up that number to 90 minutes if you're trying to lose weight. But it sounds like, a lot. But to your point, small chunks of daily physical activity count as well, like gardening and housework. And so
exactly. It doesn't have to be a program. You don't have to sit down and write out a strength training program to work out. My mom doesn't do that. She does little bits of things every day. And it's little things such as even getting down on the floor. Just because you're 91 doesn't mean that you should not be able to sit down on the floor. And she actually does that when she's folding her laundry. She actually crouches down and sits on the floor and folds it. If she's watching TV, she sits on the floor. But like I said, you can sit on your sofa and do sit to stands. You can sit on a chair when you're in the kitchen. You can scoot off and do a few dips or a few push-ups. So it's just making do with what you have. But the key is to be consistent.
And consistency is key, of course. Now, what happens to our physical mobility, Dalyce, when we become older? And what specific exercises should a woman in her 60s do?
I think, once again, stick to the basic, simple exercises. Simple as when you get up in the morning, throw your legs over the edge of the bed and, do a simple stretch side to side, lean forward, lean down and touch your toes, lifting your knees up and just, doing a little bit of knee ups with rotating your hips to keep your hips mobile. As simple as standing at your kitchen counter in the morning and swinging your leg back and forth, doing some arm circles. Basically, if you don't use it, you'll lose it.
If you, I love that. If you don't use it, you'll lose it.
That's my 91-year-old mom sticks to. She says it every single day.
It's true. It's a great mantra.
Motivation. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And the older you get, the quicker or the more difficult it is to get it back.
It's true. And I believe that, look, the most important area to work on in your fitness as we age is our balance, right? Because most of the seniors in my life that I know are physically active, but due to some fall or a slip, a lot of the seniors ended up losing much of their mobility. And once that happens, their health goes downhill really fast. Hence, I always say, I recommended this to my in-laws, start adding Pilates, yoga fusion, get on the floor, like you said, fold the clothing on the floor, strengthen the core and balance.
Sure. And you don't have to wait until you're in your 50s. I have kids in their 20s as well, and I tell them, I didn't think of this when I was in my 20s, but you're doing this starting at a young age to prevent this in the future. Is to practice balance exercises, work that into your exercise routine, and not even a routine. You can be at the grocery store standing in line, stand on one leg. When you're brushing your teeth, you hear that all the time, stand on one leg. Every once in a while, if you're watching TV or whatever you're doing, reach down and touch your toes and try and do that on one foot.
There you go.
You don't have to do it at the gym.
Right. And then, of course, that's workout personality, right? Because I say that the key to establishing an exercise routine is to make it fit your personality. So you obviously love and advocate for exercising at home. What are some simple pieces of equipment we should have if we are going to be implementing the at-home workouts?
You don't need a lot. Basically, I think the best thing you can have is an exercise band, a resistance band. You can get a full body workout. They're very, very lightweight. You can travel with it. You can throw it in a bag. They're inexpensive. They don't take up a lot of room. A light set of dumbbells. Nowadays, they're so inexpensive. You can find them at Target or any store. 2, 3, 5, 8 pounds, whatever that is. But make sure whatever you're using challenges your muscles. Everyone's different. That could be 3 pounds. That could be 8 pounds. Everyone's different. But even just a basic bench in your house, a chair, even the edge of your bed, kitchen counter, they can all be used as tools.
Yep, these are great. The answer is always right under your nose. Now let's shift to menopause. So menopause is a fact of life for many women. Obviously, we know that it occurs when we stop menstruating, and the time before menopause, when women gradually produce less estrogen, is called perimenopause. Now, as women transition from perimenopause into menopause, they may experience hot flashes, insomnia, vaginal dryness, night sweats, weight gain, the list goes on. And as estrogen levels in the body decrease, our risk of developing some conditions increases. This includes osteoporosis, heart disease, urinary incontinence, just to name a few. What are some vitamins that can help minimize the symptoms of low estrogen? What do you recommend?
You know what? I'm not a dietitian, and obviously I'm not a doctor. I take a multivitamin. I basically say I like to get all of my vitamins and nutrients from the foods that I eat, but I do as a backup, just in case you don't eat perfect one day. I take just a multivitamin, a multivitamin with omega-3s. But once again, I really believe that strength training is key before and during menopause.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then superfoods, right? Like you said, it's important. It's more about what you're eating and what you're ingesting than what you're supplementing with. So, let's chat superfood to focus on in your 50s and 60s. So, we know that once we reach our 50s, it can be important to make changes in our diets and lifestyle that help us get the nutrients we need for obviously later in life. And as our bodies change with time, I say so should what's on our plate. And while, we've been able, although I was able to scarf down, a donut or two in my 20s without a second thought, of course, it could have a larger impact on my blood sugar levels and risk for diabetes and heart disease, when I'm in my 40s. So if you're diagnosed with any health conditions that call for a change in eating habits, of course, people in their 50s need to adapt in order to manage and improve symptoms. And again, basic eating habits. What are some basic healthy eating habits to follow at this age point that we're talking about, 50s and 60s?
Once again, I think you need to keep it simple. I think you need to focus on getting away from dieting and eating less and focusing on protein. And protein is going to fill you up. Make sure the biggest portion of food on your plate is protein and vegetables. And I believe you can eat anything. I don't stay away from carbs, but you want the healthy carbs. And you want that at every meal, but you want to focus on protein. And I think the biggest, problem that women have, or where they're confused, is I think most people overeat. I think portion control is very important. Every restaurant supersizes now. Every time you go somewhere, you get a huge meal. We don't need to eat that much. And I don't believe that you need to eat all day long. Back in the day, they'd say you eat every 2 hours. It's different for everyone. But I believe stick to 3 meals a day, limit your snacking throughout the day. But if you are hungry, make them healthy snacks. Stay away from processed foods, stay away from the sodas, all the sugar-laden coffee drinks. They add up. Those calories really add up at the end of the day. And it's a calorie in, calorie out, but those calories that are going in need to be good calories.
Yeah, of course. They have to be good calories. And like you said, it's so easy to those calories could be hidden. You have a latte, you don't think about it. They've put, all this extra vanilla syrup in there and 2 pounds of whipped cream. And of course, it's no longer just a coffee, it's a dessert. How do you feel about intermittent fasting?
It's interesting. I've been reading a couple of books on that recently, and I do intermittent fast off and on, but it's not because I don't do it to lose weight. I do it because it's just my lifestyle. When I get up, I like to have my greens drink first, and then I have a coffee, and I take that into my workout. And by then it's 11 o'clock, and I usually eat my first meal around noon. That's just what works for me because I'm not hungry in the morning, and it works for me. I get the rest of my calories throughout the day, but I do try and keep it within a window of like 8 to 10 hours. And so it works for some people it doesn't work for. I think do what works for you.
Yeah, I've started the intermittent fasting too, and that's why I was interested because it's been working for me. And again, not because I need to lose weight. Your body just goes through a cleansing process, and you can't, to your point, overwhelm your body by constantly just feeding it. In fact, we know as a fact that the cells regenerate and the cells replenish when you starve them out a little bit. So the intermittent fasting that you've been naturally doing in your routine has been what you've naturally been inclined to do because you're listening to your body. And now all these statistics are coming out. Same with me. I had Alexa and gained a total of 19 pounds in my pregnancy. Not to say that, women who gain more, it's a calorie in, calorie out because you have a lot of hormonal imbalances when you are pregnant. But it was a very simple math equation for me. Calories in, calories out. You're not going to overeat. You just have to feed a little bit extra for the baby. I mean, she was born 6 pounds 9 ounces. I lost that 7 pounds right away, 7 pounds of fluid, and I had only 7 pounds to go. That was the total, stress of my pregnancy. But everyone's different.
Well, I think women try to make it so difficult because there's so much information out there. It's overwhelming. Like, what do I do? How am I supposed to eat? How am I supposed to work out? What kind of program? I think it is very simple. It's calories in, calories out. You have to burn whatever you're putting in your body. You have to be able to burn that off throughout the day. If you're eating constantly, which I think most people do, they just instinctively, emotional eating, they're grabbing things to eat throughout the day. They're eating on the run. They're eating when they're out, and they don't realize how many calories they're taking in. At the end of the day, they're probably taking more in than they're actually burning off.
Yep. Very true. Very true. Well, listen, it was so enlightening chatting with you. Any final thoughts? What advice would you have to your younger self on a health tip?
On a health tip, I would say, focus on protein, forget about the dieting. It doesn't work. Be consistent. Consistency is key. And, life, like we get busy in life, if you can't do something today, do it tomorrow. There's always another day, but do something small every single day and stick with it.
Amazing advice. Thank you so much. It was so much fun chatting with you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. You are incredible. Guys, you definitely have to check out Dalyce Radtke. She's amazing. She's credible. Head to Instagram and check out her handle at fit_mom of 7. Now, listen, many plan financial and a lot of financials for retirement, but they don't plan for the social aspect of this phase of life. If you're going to go from an active working environment where you interact with others throughout the day to being home, the shift in socialization can be quite stark. So make a plan for getting out and being with people on a regular basis. Consider joining a hobby group or a local sports club. Interacting with people definitely helps you manage emotions, stress, and helps you maintain good habits. Studies show that spending lots of time with family and friends may even help you live longer. That was our Healthy Minutes segment brought to you by Caldwell Soames. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Nave, a members-only travel portal exclusively available through Organo, offering members steep discounts on nightly or weekly hotel stays, cruises, auto rentals, excursions, and so much more. With its travel getaway portal, Nave makes the days of surfing multiple travel sites and spending hours evaluating the best deals done with. That's because with Nave, you are guaranteed the best prices. Plus, to gain access to an even more expansive collection of condos, hotels, cruises, vacation villas, fantasy getaways, and concierge service, there's Forever Weeks. Simply purchase a Nave Forever Weeks package one time and enjoy the benefits many times. With Forever Weeks, forever means forever. Not only does Nave guarantee you the best prices, but it is also one of the few travel portals that pays a referral bonus, in addition to you earning rewards points, which can be redeemed on the Travel Getaway portal for further discounted hotel room rates. Become a member today and navigate the world of travel. Nave, the world for you to experience. For more information, go to nave.travel. That's Nave, Nave.travel.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Millennial Mom segment, we're featuring my dear friend, Amy Kennedy, Education Director at the Kennedy Forum, supermama to 5 amazing kiddos, and dedicated wife to Patrick Kennedy. Today, she is joined by Amber Toth, CEO of Dragon Mobile and a loving mom, with a focus on being a present and engaged parent while also pursuing her career goals. Lee Hunt is Dragon Cell Phone co-founder. He's a renowned entrepreneur, startup guru, and visionary leader in the world of tech and innovation. He has become an influential figure in the startup ecosystem, and his dedication to empowering entrepreneurs and shaping the future of business has cemented his reputation as a true startup guru. Today, we're chatting Dragon Mobile, mental health disorders in children, how it's all connected, and what we need to be doing as parents. Now, in a recent report, while social media use by teens is near ubiquitous, the U.S. Surgeon General is warning that the mental health impacts are still not fully known and has called on tech companies to take immediate action to mitigate unintended negative effects. Dr. Vivek Murphy noted that while children under 13 are technically banned from signing up for services like TikTok, Snapchat, and more, children have been able to easily join and bypass those limitations. Up to 95% of kids between the ages of 13 and 17 report using a social media platform, with more than a third saying they use social media almost constantly. And that's according to a new report from the Surgeon General. Very scary stuff. Welcoming now to the show are my experts at hand. Welcome, my friends.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hey, Zen.
Amy, so nice to have you back on. Let's start with you. So this report hinted at a call for more government oversight of social media companies. The US, it said, has a history of regulating things that impact children, ranging from toys to medications, and giving the mounting evidence for the risk of harm to some children and adolescents from social media use. A safety first approach should be applied in the context of social media products, it read. What do you say to this?
I think the evidence is clear. I am as concerned as any parent about the impact of social media on our youth, and really just the impact of technology and the constant use and connectedness. As one young person, a sophomore in today's New York Times article, said, he is concerned about how it's manipulating the reward centers in his own brain. So I think young people know it's a problem. Parents know it's a problem, and we need to take action.
Without a doubt, you said it. Now, Amber, this is exactly what you've been preaching. You're eager to regulate what our children are absorbing. In fact, so eager that you're now advocating for cell phone regulation and restrictions. What is the motivation behind Dragon Cell?
Basically personal experience and what I've seen from the kids around. We see like kids struggling now with their mental health, their how they feel about themselves in the world, what they where they fit in, and a lot of that is influenced by social media. And this is something that I don't think that kids should be worrying about at this impact at this age. So being able to kind of scale back from all of that stuff and introduce them back into the world of being a child and learning that way is like my biggest drive.
Of course, because if you look at it, right, our kids are getting lost from overconnectivity to digital exposure. And I know that I went on your website, and any parents, it's really evident. Dragon offers parents and children the ability to be connected and safe without the distractions. And I love how affordable this is. I mean, you could find any plan to fit your needs. I saw plans starting at $9 and they all had unlimited calls. And that's really all you need. You just need to be able to communicate. You don't need to be plugged in to the point where, to Amy's point, the receptors in children's brains are now being manipulated and or over and under stimulated in terms of, what their expectations are for the bigger picture, which is called life. Now, Lee, beyond your role as a mentor, you have contributed significantly to the startup ecosystem through your thought leadership and public speaking engagements, adding invaluable insight and really inspiring people worldwide. Your passion for fostering entrepreneurship extends beyond traditional boundaries. Now, as a tech guy, what steps has Dragon Cell Phone taken to secure data sovereignty and consumers' privacy? I mean, we are dealing with children.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that, from my past, the industry that I've been in telecommunications for 25 years. And so we've seen the whole shift come from bag phones to flip phones to smartphones. And now we're kind of going back into this whole disconnection of technology. And so, we look at that from a technology standpoint to say, how do we protect privacy? How do we protect the data? But it's not even only for the kids, but I mean, in general, right? So we've always been looked at data points and how to protect that data from day one, right? So a lot of the things that we look at, like we look at usage on devices over time, but we don't know who that individual is. We don't know, if it's male, female, black, white. We don't really see that. But we see usage patterns. With Dragon, it's a little different. So now we take out all of the data points, right? So we don't need to understand data usage on these phones because it's very simple. There is no data usage, right? There's app usage, there's phone calls, there's text messaging. None of that stuff is accessible anywhere, right? So, I mean, we've kind of always looked at data points and privacy as number one, and that's what we're doing definitely at Dragon.
So important. And I'm glad that you guys are thinking of this stuff. Now, Amy, a particular concern is the effect of social media on brain development. You touched on this earlier. And adolescents between the ages of 10 and 19 are in fact in a period where risk-taking behaviors reach their highest levels and when depression and other mental health issues often emerge. That age is also where children's sense of self-worth begins to manifest. Now, social media can severely affect that development. We know this. How can improper, specifically cell phone use, impact our children's social and emotional development, Amy?
I think there's a misconception that it is just a specific app that's not good. If I just keep my kids off TikTok, or, oh, well, they don't have a Snapchat account, or they don't have a Discord account. So we think we're protecting them, but what we really are not realizing is it's not just which app they're using, it's the amount of time that they're spending. It's the algorithms on the apps that they are using that are part of the problem, because the time that they're spent on social media generally or on a device is time that they're not spent connecting in person or pursuing the other things that they enjoy in life. And so, by requiring social media companies to conduct age verifications, we could really make a difference here. But we also need to require them to stop using those algorithms for teens under 18 so that they're not being fed the content that may be harmful to them. That's why Kennedy Forum has supported the bipartisan legislation called the Protecting Kids on Social Media Act. And it really would create a pilot government age verification project that platforms can use and provide the FTC and state attorney general's authority to enforce the provisions of the bill.
Amazing. And this is exactly why you do the work you do. You are a trailblazer in your field and you have the evidence firsthand. So, this is a warning. I mean, you're warning parents. You're telling them, hey, listen, you have to wake up. You have to take control into your own hands and take those devices out of theirs. Now, of course, we know frequent social media use is associated with distinct changes in the developing brain, in the amygdala portion of the brain, which is important for emotional learning and behavior, and in the prefrontal cortex, which is also important for impulse control, emotional regulation, and moderating social behavior. So this definitely needs to be monitored. Amber, let's shift to you now. Let's circle back to simplifying our lives as moms and not needing to play Sherlock Holmes. So with Dragon's cell phone, do parents need to monitor and manage their children's data and content usage? I mean, this is very time consuming.
Yeah, no, that is something that we handle at the very beginning. So when somebody signs up with us, we have their specific app or their specific plan that they chose loaded with those features locked down, basically. So once it gets into their hands, they don't need to do anything else. They hand it to their child is able to use those features, and they're all very limited to your text call or your calls, your text messages, and basic functions on the phone. That's it. There isn't any access to anything else. So it's not something that they have to go in and lock down. It's not something they have to go in and set time limits. It's not something they have to go in and say, okay, it's bedtime. There's nothing really for them to have to worry about. It's something we take care of in the very beginning.
I love it because here we are buying iPhones and then taking the iPhone and disabling 90% of the apps for our kids, but still have to pay, the premium for having an iPhone, right? So this is amazing. It brings you back to basics. And remember, this is a big thing I read on your website. At Dragon, there's no pornography, predators, bullies, no social media or harmful games. And I love that you can graduate kids into more functionality based on needs and maturity, and then access what you call your safe apps for creativity. I mean, it truly, alas, feels like a safe environment to prepare kids for the future. So I love what you've done, Amber. Lee, what makes Dragon different from the other kid-safe services out there from your dad's perspective?
Well, I mean, it's an all-in-one solution, right? So, I mean, there's other companies out there that'll sell a device, they'll have service, but bringing everything into one roof, and that's really where it makes a big difference, right? From a dad or mom perspective, is like, if I can buy this phone and it's already done, I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go in and set parental controls and all this stuff. I don't have to pick a plan. I don't have to get a number. From the management perspective, it's just easy, right? It's a one and done. Here, buy it, give it to your kid, and don't think about it again.
I love it. And YouTube, look, YouTube is widely viewed by teens as a positive force, but then teens report Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They report that those apps increase their feelings of anxiety. And statistically, Amy taught me this, girls are disproportionately affected by the negative effects and aspects of social media. So it really, we have to start to wake up here. Now, Amy, eighth graders who spend 10 or more hours a week on social media are 56% more likely to report being unhappy than those who spend less time. Now, in a world where communication is key, does it make sense to go back to the flip phone era?
You know, it's funny. My oldest child just sent me those statistics, and I said that, you know, she's using the phone less than the average teen. And I said, yeah, but do you want to be like the average teen? The average teen is depressed and anxious and having a whole lot of mental health challenges. So we don't want our kids to be following the average amount of time. We really need to look for ways to reduce that. And that may mean a different type of device altogether. I will agree with you. You know, being Sherlock Holmes is really tough as a parent. I've done that. I am, you know, always the one that's waiting up to take that phone at bedtime and making sure that the other apps are limited with time limits and different things. And we want to instead not have to say to our kids, can you put the phone down? We're at the dinner table. Can you put the phone down? We're doing this or that. But that is the reality of today. Some young people are taking this on as their way to show that they are not being controlled by social media and they are putting the phones down themselves. Others still haven't really come around to the idea and resent a little bit of the control.
For sure, but flip phones, to your point and to your child's point, are trending now thanks to TikTok, because influencers and celebrities are promoting flip phones because it's easy to disconnect and live in the moment. And that's what it's all about right now. That's what we want to teach our kids. Thank you so much for coming on. What an insightful, amazing segment. I mean, I learned a ton, and I know that parents listening out there, you solved a lot of problems for a lot of them out there.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Amy, we are going to send you and your family a whole bunch of Dragon cell phones, and you can get your kids on a safe platform. It would be our pleasure.
Great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, definitely do check out dragoncellphone.com. It's one of those incredible platforms, dragoncellphone.com, on the gram at Safe Dragon Phone. And of course, remember, parents face significant challenges in managing children and adolescents' use of social media applications, and youth are using social media at increasingly earlier ages. While nearly all parents believe that they have a responsibility to protect their children from inappropriate content online, the entire burden of mitigating the risk of harm of social media cannot be placed on the shoulders of children and parents. It should not. And so making Dragon Cell Phone a top choice is definitely my mom approved choice. Also head to the kennedyforum.org. They are an incredible organization at the forefront of mental health disorders, especially in children. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Caldwell Soames Incorporated, investing globally in transformative businesses like Original Digital Corporation, or ODC. ODC develops advanced consumer and commercial fintech solutions such as OG Pay, which will transform the way you manage your money. From sending and receiving money globally for free, paying for goods and services in person and online, pay bills, buy and sell digital currencies, all while earning interest. OG Pay is easy to set up, FDIC insured, and your information is secured. Check out ogpay.com.
Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could go to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also, remember that we're now live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern. YouTube, we upload all Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And all our episodes are now available on Kathy Ireland's Your Home TV. We stream 24/7. Head to mox.yourhometv.com. That's free programming for you. Thank you for listening to A Moment of Zen. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that keep this show going. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it.